Hello, my name is Peter Parfitt. Welcome to the new Brit workshop. Festool have very kindly lent to me their 3 brand new compact sanders. I've got them behind me and they are from left to right the DTS 400, in the middle is the RTS 400 and on the right is the ETS 125. Now these 3 sanders all share some principal properties which I'll mention now. The first is that they all have the same brand new electronic motor control, which means that no matter how hard you're working them, the rate of working of the sander itself will be maintained. They all are lightweight at about 1.2 kilos each, which makes them perfect for working overhead. They also come with the brand new chip collection bag, which means that you don't have to have the hose attached, which is particularly useful if you're working overhead or in an awkward position where getting your extractor there is not quite so easy. And they all share the 2mm sanding stroke, which means you will be able to get some fine results with each of these 3 sanders. And all 3 machines have the new dust port, and this is a bayonet type connector. But don't worry, your existing hose will fit onto this with no problem at all. And Festool have provided a new hose adapter with each of these. Now this chip collector bag is new and it just pushes on to the tool. It's a push fit, and there it is, home and dry, and you can lift the tool by this with absolutely no problem at all. The way the airflow works with these 3 new sanders is such that you would leave your extractor on full blast. If you put pencil lines on something before you're about to sand it, you can tell very easily whether you're sanding evenly. And I've actually had a little go with the RTS 400 already, and this works really well. It's so easy to control. There's that piece of wood now, and those pencil marks have disappeared, and they've disappeared evenly, I assure you. Now before I started I did check that this piece of wood was square, because I'm now going to do the same on this edge as well, and I'm going to keep returning to this piece of wood doing this demo with all 3 sanders, and then at the end of it I'm going to show that it's still square. In terms of the feel of the sander, I've got it up at just about full blast. It's very light, it's very easy to control. Now with sanders that are as light as these, the weight of the hose feels significant, and so the chip collector bag really starts to make a lot of sense even for normal usage. Now that really is easy, and I can assure you there's no dust flying up at my face whatsoever. Now the chip collector is a new addition to the range, but so too are these protectors, and I got them fitted to these 2, and with the ETS I'm just going to click this in place. It just pushes on, and in order to take them off, probably the easiest way is to put the sander down on a flat surface and just gently prise out the lugs from the back and pull it away. So I've got the ETS 125 now, and I'm going to do the same trick. Well, there we go. That really is absolutely effortless, and there's no difficulty in controlling this at all. Now the abrasive I'm using with all 3 sanders at the moment is 120 grit granite. And finally I'm going to use the DTS. And I can imagine that if you're working above your head, having something as light as this is going to be quite a boon, really. The purpose of the protector is to protect the vertical surface when you're sanding in a situation like this. And I've set up a similar demo. I've put pencil lines all across here. I actually have a bit of old filler there, so it'll be interesting to see how easily that goes. I'm expecting a little bit of my pencil line to remain very close to this edge. Let's have a look. And interesting to note that this filler that was here, I don't know why it was there, has not all gone into the chip collection bag at the back, and there's a little bit of dust here as well. Now I'm going to try it without the protector on and see how close I can get to that edge. I've got all the way in there, and if this was a piece of ordinary joinery, then the so-called damage to this vertical edge, I would say, would be minimal, and the sanding action has gone right in, right up against there, so that's good. Now, because one's sanding across the edge of the wood, one's bound to get a little bit of dust, as you may have seen here. And there we go. Let's put a bit more dust onto the tabletop, and I'll put this little bag back on here. And on an ordinary plain surface, if one's running the sander, you won't get the dust being spread everywhere. You should have seen that no dust came out from the sides and all the dust has gone. No trick to it, it just does do extraction when it's on a flat surface. Now, another thing worth noting with the ETS is that it has a pad brake. And I'm going to do the same process with the RTS now. Again, with the protector, you can see there's a line. It's probably about 6 millimeters wide there where it has not got right into the edge. And I'll now remove the protector and we'll try it right up to the edge. Well, that made that pencil line disappear completely. And again, unless you were sanding right up against a really pristine gloss painted surface, there is absolutely no problem from the sanding pad vibrating against there. We're going to do this now with the DTS. Without using the tip, which doesn't have the benefit of the protector. Again, I've got that gap there, but I'm going to remove that again. And you can see just how easy that was to remove the rest of that pencil line. And again, that's absolutely no problem at all. Now, of course, for a Delta sander, this might be a little bit more realistic. This time we've got the protector still on. Now, I could use the tip to get in here, but actually one should reserve the tip for those places where it's really necessary, right in the corners. But I'm going to remove the protector. Now that really is good. Again, I'm checking this edge. This was nicely planed, smooth, this edge, and to my finger it feels absolutely fine. Now, in order to take the bag off, I'm going to squeeze the two sides. Saves me having to take all of this part off. And I drop this part down, and I'll put a little bit of light in there so you can see, hopefully you can see. And this could be now emptied into a bag, or you could wait until you get back to base and just run your extractor nozzle in there. There we go, that's quite clean now. And to refit the bag, I just close it back up again, like so. And then I'm going to push fit it onto here. That's it, you heard it click in place on one side and on the other, and that's it, we're ready to go again. Now, when you receive one of these new hose ends, fitting it is actually very easy. And forgive me if I'm teaching you to suck eggs, but there are one or two people who've asked me how to do it. If you look at your hose, which has got the end fitted, you'll see towards the back a little place here, which is a little spigot of plastic sticking into here. Just push in like so, and it's gone back just a shade. And I'll turn it around and do the other one. Push in here. That's gone back fully. And I can now take this off. Now, in theory, this piece is the same as that piece, and this piece is already fitted. So all we have to do is to take this part and introduce it to the hose. So you end up being left with a complete connector, and then you just slip this in, the reverse process, making sure those two little plastic spigots do engage. If you're arthritic like me, you'll find this a little bit of a challenge, but there we go, that's done. And now I can take my sander and fit the hose, and you've got to push the hose quite a long way down in order to get it to engage fully, and then do a twist. And that's all the way in, it's engaged, and now you can play all sorts of games with your sander. And I'm sure that someone's bound to ask whether the new connector, which I've now fitted, fits the tools which don't have the new port already fitted. And the answer is yes. There's my saw with it on where the hose is fitting inside. And now I'll turn to this sander, and that fits on as well. So this hose end will work with your existing tools which have yet to have the new connector fitted. Now this is something I'm constructing at the moment. It's got maple veneer all the way around, and it's something which is to me quite precious. I'm putting on some 180 grit onto the RTS 400, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a sand. That is super, absolutely super. The other thing I want to point out, with both the ETS 125 and the RTS 400, you can sand right up into a corner. And I'm actually going to do it now with the RTS in this corner. And I must say, this is what I would say is one of my finest bits of woodwork, and I'm quite happy without the protector going right into that corner. There's no other collateral damage at the edges at all. That is absolutely super. And with luck, my woodworking mentor, who inspects all my work, won't notice that I'd left a little bit of a glue line there. Oh, we'll see. Now I should just mention that you can buy these sanders just in a cardboard box. Two of them have come to me like that, rather than in the Sustainer. And I suspect, having used them for a few days now, that these sanders are going to be certainly at hand for most of the time, and so maybe they don't need to live in a Sustainer. Now I've tried to show with these pieces of wood how easy it is to get into tight spaces. And once I'd done that on these rough bits of wood, I was then perfectly happy to go into my veneered project here. Now this veneer is maple veneer, and I'm really, really proud of it. And so it was with some trepidation initially that I then let loose with the sanders without the protectors. And it is absolutely super. I'm really pleased with it. So maybe the protectors, certainly when the sanders are new, aren't quite as necessary as people might think. Now I try to demonstrate what my dad used to say about sanding, and you had to really make sure that you did it, you're keeping flat on the surface, and that is absolutely square. And I've been sanding this piece of wood for quite a time now. I'm sick of it, frankly. Well, these sanders certainly do everything that Festool suggests they should be used for. I've tackled the fine veneer work, and I'm really pleased with the result. These chip collector bags, they do their stuff. I obviously haven't done a long-term test on those, but certainly you saw that they are picking up the dust. So I've got absolutely no hesitation recommending these sanders, but don't take my word for it. Go to your dealer or go to a show and get your hands on these sanders and try them for yourself. And I think you'll then discover that everything I've said about them is absolutely spot on. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.